Hello. Okay. Hopefully everything is coming through audio wise right now. Hope everyone's having a good Sunday. I'm gonna start a stream, a game that I haven't streamed before, which is always kind of exciting. It's actually a game that I first picked up like a long time ago. Didn't really get too far into it, and then just recently have been kind of looking for a game with Star Wars in it, and this seems like a good one to kind of play a little bit more casually, where I don't have to play, hours and hours at a time. I can kind of pick away at it over the course of a day, which is nice. So the game that we're gonna play is called Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. It's a mobile game. I think there's also a PC client, but being a person with just a MacBook and an iPhone means that I have to get a little bit creative about how I play and how I stream the game. So hopefully, quality wise, everything looks good when we actually start the gameplay. As far as how I'm going to play the game, it's going to be a little bit different from how, some people are playing. I've done some research. I've looked into, like farming paths, best way to play when you're a free to play player versus like spending money and all of that. And I've come up with my own kind of idea about how I want to do my account that isn't too far off from how some people play, but at the same time has kind of its own spin on it to make it a little bit more fun and a little bit more challenging. So, as far as how we're going to do it, first off, as I mentioned, this is a game that I did pick up a while back. So, here, I'm going to just switch to a slideshow real quick to kind of break that down. I just realized that I might not have my mic going on that slide, which would be bad. Um, Let me see if I can add that into here so that it's not such a mess. One sec. So if you didn't hear me, because I'm pretty sure when I switch my scenes that it also cut out the audio. Um, we're gonna call this playthrough, this farming path, starting a rebellion. Um, the reason for that, give me one sec. OBS is really great tool, not the most user friendly tool, as some people I'm sure know. Okay, so starting a rebellion. There we go. All right, so first off, as I mentioned, I started this game a long time ago. January of 2017 is the first time I ever like downloaded and played this game, but I did not get far. I probably didn't even get to like level 40, honestly. I didn't have the patience for like gotcha style games or like collector games. Back then, the only one that I really played, even in that vein, would be Pokemon, which is, a console game. So, what I'm going to be doing is going, through a few kind of basic teams. So, first team that we're going to build, very standard Phoenix, because one, they're rebels, which is great. Two, the game kind of gives them to you early on, so you don't have to go out of your way, farm a lot of different like nodes to get them, and they're just strong early in the game from what I can tell. I haven't been to the late game, but from watching videos and just kind of seeing the gameplay, I tested out a little bit before I'm going to start this playthrough just to kind of get a feel for everything. They seem really good. So that's going to be the first team that I build just because it's going to be kind of like the backbone of my account until I can build up to later game teams. Then the next team that I'm going to build, because you do need a dark side team to your light side team, is an Empire based team. So with that Phoenix team, I can get Emperor Palpatine and Thrawn, which is awesome. They give you they give you Darth Vader for essentially free just by playing the game. They give you a lot of his shards until eventually, you just have him. So that's also great. Mara Jade, because she is critically important to Emperor Palpatine. Emperor Palpatine teams, it seems. And then Tarkin, we're going to do for two reasons. One, we need to level him up anyways for his capital ship because you need to do that event to get Zeta mats apparently. Haven't ever gone that far, but I've heard a lot about it. And two, it looks like he got buffed recently, so he just seems better than a lot of the other options. Hi, Winger. So yeah, that's gonna be the second team that I build. I know a lot of people say to build like Imperial troopers, which is awesome, but I feel like I can invest less resources by going with a team that uses Thrawn, Palpatine, and Vader, who they just throw a bunch of like levels at you. So those I think are like 4 to 5 stars just by playing the game versus having to like farm a node. So that's why I'm going to go for them second. Then the next team that we're going to have to build is going to be bounty hunters because my main goal for this account later on is going to be to farm Profundity and the GL Leia. So we need the Millennium Falcon to make the Profundity even decent, I guess, from what I've read. So bounty hunters are going to be extremely important in getting Chewie and the Falcon. So we're going to go with them as probably the third team that we build. Then next up is going to be like a rebels team. So we're going to have a lot of kind of miscellaneous rebels as part of building up to Profundity. So I figure, building a team with like Mon Mothma and like all these pilots that we're going to have. I need Biggs as a tank. I guess Biston's pretty good for an early rebel fleet before you get the Falcon. We're going to get Kyle Katarn because his ship is good for Admiral Akbar's fleet until you get to the Profundity. So we're just going to have all these miscellaneous rebels. So I figure why not throw that into an actual team? So we'll kind of use Mon Mothma as the lead and then fill in, the rest of the slots with whoever we have essentially. So that's going to be probably the fourth team that we build. And then the final team shouldn't really be a surprise as far as, what we're building towards, which is going to be a Rogue One team because you need them in order to get the Profundity. You need to get Radis at Relic 9, which is probably so far off that I can't even comprehend how much work that's going to take. And then kind of the main reason why I got back into Star Wars so hard recently was watching season 2 of Andor. So I did want the like kind of main goal to be getting the capital ship with all those Rogue One characters in it. So that's going to be kind of the path that we take before, getting to our final goal, which is going to be Profundity and hopefully Leia. So it's going to be a really long project. From what I understand, it's probably going to take me a year or more to get these characters. But it's going to be kind of a fun project. I'm going to not really do too much live streaming would be my guess. I'm going to be probably doing more like weekly update videos, but every now and then for like events or, a situation like this where I'm starting the account, I'm going to try to do some live streams here and there just for fun. So that's going to be kind of what we're doing. And then from there, we'll see how things play out. I know that it's going to be extremely challenging because the build is not very efficient from my understanding. But I think that trying to overcome that is going to be a fun obstacle as well. Yeah, so I'm going to pull up the video. And so how I have to do this is I'm literally playing on my iPhone that I have connected to my MacBook. Hopefully it all works out right. If things seem a little bit off, I'll try to fix it, but hopefully it looks okay. But I'm probably gonna have to look down a lot just because I'm literally tapping on my phone since they don't have a PC client for Mac without going through a lot of hoops. So there we go. Hope the audio is coming in. I'm gonna probably play some background music too, so I hope that all sounds good. But let me get that started. And then, if the volume levels are like too loud or whatnot, let me know. I'll try to fix it. but this is literally going to be a brand new account, as you can see. And if people want to read, sorry, I'm going to kind of skip through this. I've gone through like the tutorial section a couple of times, just trying to get a feel for how all the game works. So they're going to give us Anakin and Ahsoka early on. I'm not going to do hyperdrive bundle or anything like that. This is going to be literally a free-to-play account. I'm not going to spend any money at all, which is going to make it tedious and long, but also I did want to, actually try to do it completely free-to-play. So we'll see how this goes. And yes, if anyone wants to like recommend stuff, totally cool with me, but if it goes against kind of my plans for the account, I'm gonna just politely say no. But as a relative newcomer to the game, advice is always welcome, so that's cool with me too. Hi Donut. So we get old Ben, which is cool. He's actually gonna be part of a lot of my teams early on, I'm guessing. I'm gonna try not to use a lot of the prequel characters, just kind of for fun too. So like, I know that there's an early Yoda journey, and I'm gonna try to keep that to like Jedi that came after the prequels. So like old Ben, Kanan, Ezra, Kyle Katarn is gonna be a fourth one, and then probably the fifth one in that team is gonna be Bastila, because a lot of my Star Wars like lore and knowledge comes from like the Star Wars video game. So I love KOTOR, played Jedi Academy and Shadows of the Empire back in the day too. So we're also going to probably farm a lot of those video game characters that are in this game, because that seems fun too. We'll get like Dash Rendar, we'll maybe get Star Killer. That's like way in the future though. Those characters, you need like relic characters. I've never even had one relic character, let alone 4 or 5 that you're gonna need to get some of them. But yeah, this is super basic early on. I can't wait till I can use auto battle, because the beginning of this game is really easy, so you don't really need to be choosing each individual move. They just kind of force you to do it early on, so not as much fun, but we'll get there. Oh, look at us, we're level 2. But yeah, I remember back in the day, they did not give you like cool characters when you started this game. I'm pretty sure they gave you like just a random clone trooper, like a generic Jedi. They didn't give you the whole setup that they do in this game. Like they give you Kylo Ren early on in this. What else did they give you? They give you like Moff Gideon and the Dark Trooper. I'm pretty sure it didn't used to be like that back in the day. And then one of the other fun things is part of the reason why I decided to do this like right around now too is that it's right around my birthday. So my birthday is the 5th, so kind of fun that by the time I wrap a year on this, I'm actually gonna be like a year older too, so it kind of coincides nicely with what we're doing. All right, so I'm going to just quickly close the screen down just so I can link it to my EA account, and then I'll be right back to like continue the farm. So 1 sec. Alright, I'm back, so I'm going to just make it refresh real quick so it brings up the stuff that I got for linking my EA account. Right now, there's like these Lightspeed free bundle things that you can get for Anakin, Darth Maul, SWGOH, and Darth Vader. I thought about doing those, but it's gonna like actually skip you ahead, so it just makes you automatically go to level 19. So I'm probably not going to do that because of that reason. However, there is one also for the Jedi Temple Guardian that you can get a little bit later on. I don't know if by the time I get to the level required that it's still going to be there, but if it is, that one I'll probably do because it gives you some like equipment gear, which will be useful. So that one I'll probably do. Actually, we'll just leave it like that. I was thinking I was going to put Anakin in the lead, but none of them have their leadership ability anyway, so there's not really a point. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of other people's videos about free-to-play accounts, trying to do my research, kind of get ahead of the game, figure out what's going on with this. And so, you know, I watch like Nooch's videos, Sanjita, not really Arnold as much, just because a lot of his videos also seem to kind of favor like spending accounts, which is cool. Like, you know, people should do what makes them happy. But I was more watching videos that are based around like free-to-play guides and help, tips, stuff like that. And I've noticed that, yeah, almost everyone will say, go get Executor, then go get Jabba, and then kind of, you know, take your account from there. And I guess there's a ship called the Punishing One that just completely wrecks the profundity. So it's gonna be kind of fun to see if we can figure out a way to get around that. I doubt it. It's probably gonna be extremely frustrating, but I'm sure my frustration is also going to be entertaining in some capacity. So hopefully you guys like seeing, you know, a person hit their head against the wall trying to figure things out too. And then hopefully we get Farm Boy Luke after this one, I think. So we'll have a little bit more of a team, and then we'll see. So in terms of ship wise, because we're going to be farming Phoenix, we're going to use the Ghost and the Phantom. And then I'm thinking I'm going to try to like farm Biggs in his X-Wing, because the Rebel Y-Wing that they give you early on, it's a really good ship, but you don't get access to the node to level it up from 4 stars for a very long time. So because you do want to like get to like 5 stars or more on ships, it seems like, I think I'm probably going to go the Biggs route, even if it delays getting my Phoenix to like 6 or 7 stars a little bit, just so that I have an easier time in fleets, because that's kind of where you know, make all your crystals from what I can see. And then, yeah, if you don't have the crystals, then it just is going to delay your account's development. So we're going to prioritize going for ships and kind of farming the bigger characters second, and focusing on like Phoenix and the Empire team should be okay. I actually asked Reddit about doing a build like this to see if it even makes sense, and basically what they said was, you know, go ahead, do it, you know, have fun, do what makes the game fun to you, don't worry about being, you know, a min-maxer right from the get-go. But at the same time, they did give me like some pretty good tips in terms of, you can do, I guess, challenge tier 1 of the Endor Moon assault battle with the Empire team that I have planned, but I'm not going to be able to progress beyond that, I guess. You need like Imperial troopers in order to do that. So I'm not going to focus on like completing higher tiers of the assault battles. I'm going to just try to do what I can with the teams that I have, to hopefully get to like the actual characters and ships that I want to a little bit sooner, like the Millennium Falcon, Han Solo, Chewie, Profundity, and then I guess I'm gonna just build the Commander Luke Skywalker team because we're gonna be going for the Falcon anyways, which means that we'll, you know, get like R2, which is cool, C-3PO, which is cool, get all those kind of like fun OG trilogy characters, the ones that at least I grew up with. You know, I watched all those videos on VHS dozens of times, probably even hundreds in some cases. So it's fun to kind of focus on the faction that was my childhood, and then we'll go up against, you know, some of the newer characters and see if the older generation can stack up. But I guess the Executor is like OG trilogy lead, so that'll be a fun counter to what we're doing too. And going kind of against the meta is also something fun for me. I tend to not go with things that are the highest tier or like the best version of something, because I think it's more fun to try to go above and beyond what is considered like the standard, even if it means that it doesn't always work out. It's fun to try to see if you can overcome those types of odds stacked against you. Like I remember back in the day in Pokemon, I used to have a challenge for myself on the original Game Boy games where I would have to complete the game leaving my Pokedex at 6 Pokemon, which means you couldn't evolve anything. You had to have all your HM moves on those like 6 Pokemon that you pick to beat the game with, and also have, you know, like a good enough variety and high enough level team that you can compete, despite having like, you know, a Squirtle that never evolves or something like that. So kind of doing these random challenges has been part of my gaming DNA, I guess, for a long time. But yeah, we're cruising right now. Up to level 5. Still waiting for my Luke. This is where we get Rey. So I've heard that Scavenger Rey actually used to be a really good character in this game, which is kind of funny to me. I mean, it makes sense. Like, the couple of times that I've used her in my testing, it seems like she hits really hard. She just doesn't have a lot of versatility. At least early in the game, she hits really hard. I will say that the early part of this game does take a while, and this is like, I guess, the jump-started version of the early game too. So it used to take even longer back in the day, which I kind of remember. I remember it feeling like getting to level 40 was a struggle. I think that's part of the reason why I quit back in the day, was because it was just taking too long to make progress, and I wasn't, you know, playing as often as I probably would need to. I think you need to be a daily player to really develop a roster in this game. Maybe, you know, when you get to a little bit later in the game, you don't need to play quite as often because you already have a base that you can rely on, but at least when you're starting out, you need to be getting your like daily quest done constantly, it seems like. And then if you want to join a decent guild, you also need to be hitting the like 600 tickets or whatever every single day too, because you're not really helping in the raids and the territory war. So if you're not providing the tickets for launching those things, you're really not beneficial at all. So we'll see if I can even get into a guild that's going to help us grow. So we got our Rey, we got our Luke now, which I was waiting for. So yeah, this is what we're playing on. Oh. Can accept all these. Oh wow, we actually have a lot. Dailies are still locked, so we won't do that. And then I think we have, oh yeah, so there's like training droids, and I think there's a calendar that they give us too. I think you might need to be level 10 for the calendar though. But we at least get the training droids and the sim tickets, which are going to be useful. I don't think I've ever come close to running out of sim tickets when they give you that pack, so I don't know how beneficial it is now, but at least back in the day, I'm sure that was probably a big deal, getting 5,000 right off the bat for free. So we're going to promote Rey, I guess. She's not, once again, she's not like great. They force you to do it, but for the most part, I'm going to try not to level up too many of these characters to save our training droids. I'm going to try to save like all of this stuff to give us the best, like the best chance to level things up as quickly as possible being free to play. We're going to conserve our resources, try to use everything as efficiently as we can. Since we're already going with a non-efficient build, might as well, you know, help yourself out in the little ways that you can. Might not make the biggest difference, like this is all beginner gear, like level 1 and level 2 training droids, but if you can give yourself a little bit of an edge, even if it won't amount too much in the long run, still, you know, it's worth that little bit of extra juice you can give yourself. Alright, so we got those guys done. Claim a bunch of that. See, we got some Vader shards already. Got some stuff for Luke. Let's see if it lets us promote Luke. Not yet. Okay. As you can see, this is also a resource management game. So, like efficiently using that energy, your gear, that's all gonna be important stuff too. Since I'm not really going to be focusing on Anakin and Ahsoka, I'm going to put them at the bottom, you know. Let them chill in the back while Luke and old Ben do their work. But yeah, so as far as like what I've tested out recently, I think I've gotten to like level 60-ish. I got 2 fleets just to see what those battles were like. This was during like the May, so they were giving away a bunch of free stuff, and I messed up. I was like leveling ships that I didn't need to. I didn't realize how scarce the ship building materials were, so I like leveled things up to 40 or 50, but then I didn't have enough materials to level up the ships that I was actually using, and it was just a big mess. So I'm kind of happy I get to start with a fresh slate, because yeah, when you aren't spending money, it's really important to know what you're doing early on. So I'm glad I kind of took the time to learn some of these systems, because hopefully it should be a little bit smoother ride now that I actually have a path that I want to go down. And I feel like we're just cruising right now. I've seen so kind of as you get like the little silver coins, what are they called, like ally coins or something, I've noticed that when you do like your first few pools, that tends to give you 1 free character. I've been kind of keeping track of which characters I've gotten in like all my different test versions. One of them, I got Mace Windu, which was awesome because he's like a legit character. When you pull him, I think he starts at 4 stars, which is really nice. Most of the time it gives you like a common character. So like the common ones I've seen are Snowtrooper, Royal Guard. What else? One time I got a Poggle, which was cool. I wasn't planning to like build the GO team, but still cool to get like one of the rare characters. For this one, I'm really hoping that it just gives us like a free Biggs, or maybe one of like the Hoth Rebels or something, just to like cut down on time. Like if they gave me Biggs, that would be really nice, because I'm planning on getting his ship anyways. So fingers crossed that we don't just get one of the basic Royal Guard, Stormtrooper, Snowtrooper? Stormtrooper. I think it's Snowtrooper that gives you. We're getting pretty close to where it gives us Leia, early on, like Rebel Leia, New Hope Leia, who she doesn't seem like she's that good of a character in this game. She has a stealth mechanic which looks cool, but what it amounts to most of the time is that she prioritizes using that stealth move instead of attacking. So when you're doing auto battle like this, she's stealthing instead of, you know, taking that turn to attack, and these characters aren't strong enough that you need to stealth, so it just makes it take longer. So while we're gonna use her in this team, just because I'm focusing on using the rebels when I can, it does make the auto battle take a little bit longer. But when you use her in like they have like training missions where they give you character shards after you complete certain levels of them. She's actually pretty solid in that one. She's a higher level, and she has access to like the higher versions of her abilities, because her stealth gives her extra like crit damage or something like that. And that's also where I got to play with, I got to like test what R2 and Han Solo are like. And Han Solo is ridiculous in this game. He hits like a truck. He has like a auto stun for one of his attacks. I guess one of his abilities is shoot first, so he always gets like a free turn at the beginning of the game, which is really cool. And that's something I've noticed with a lot of the characters in this game, is that they just do a really good job of being true to kind of the idea behind a lot of the characters, you know, kind of like their essence with their movesets and stuff, which is awesome. You can tell that Capital Games, who's the developer of this game, really does just like know Star Wars and like Star Wars. And it's always cool to see when the team that's in charge of a game is also like a really, you know, big fan of the media behind it. So we're getting really close to level 10, which is when I think we will unlock the what is it, like jump light speed to 85, jump speed to 85 calendar, or whatever it's called. So we get Kylo Ren unmasked, who is gonna be leading up our dark side team early on, probably. Part of me kind of wants to do that Darth Vader lightspeed thing, just because it gives him to you at I think he's like 4 stars when you do that, like 4 stars gear 4, I think, which would be nice, because then all these Darth Vader shards that we're getting would go to the shard shop and just give us extra currency early on. I might do that one. Like, I don't really care about Darth Maul, I don't really care about Anakin or Savage, but the Darth Vader one would be a pretty nice bonus, I think. So maybe we'll do that one. It is free. Like, if you know the code, you just get it for free. I was just trying not to do it in the spirit of it being a free-to-play account and wanting to level up literally from 1 to 85. But maybe when we get closer to 19, I'll just do that, because, you know, free resources are nice and they're hard to come by in a lot of games. So I might as well take advantage of some of those things. We got our shipments. So these ones, hi Jedi Links. Yeah, so I guess always get the ones that are credits. Do not get anything that costs crystals from my understanding. And then a lot of the characters that we're gonna have to farm for this path are also gonna be from here. Cassian, Jin, K2SO, Biston, Biggs, like they're all gonna be shipment based characters, I guess, which means that they're gonna take a while. You have to do Galactic War for Biggs and then the ships, and I think Zeb and Hera are also from the Galactic War store. Chopper is going to be Cantina. Cassian ship is also Cantina, and then I think Biston's in there too. So we're going to be doing a lot of our character farms from there. So there is the monthly one. I'm not going to be able to finish that calendar, unfortunately. Oh, so we're farming like a rebel team links. So it's gonna go for like Phoenix to like an Emperor Palpatine Empire team, bounty hunters, like Mon Mothma rebels, and Rogue One. Eventual goals are gonna be to get Profundity, and then after Profundity, we're gonna go for Leia. So that's gonna be kind of like long-term goals. I'm expecting this to take a really long time because I've never made it to the late game, so I don't really know what's in store for me. So I'm gonna probably make a lot of like rookie mistakes, but that's also gonna be kind of part of the fun of this project. But yeah, so it's gonna be very rebel based, going a little bit against what the established meta is for free to play and early accounts too, just to see what's going to happen. You know, I'm expecting very much to run into a bunch of like Galactic Republic fleets early on because they give you Anakin and Ahsoka early. I'm also expecting to run into a lot of dark side fleets early on that are aiming to go for the Executor. So probably going to have to beat a lot of like Geos, a lot of TIE fighter based teams, which is, from my understanding, not very good to go up against for Rebels because TIE Bomber is a pain. But we'll figure out all these things as we go and hopefully have a good time doing it. All right, so we got our old Ben up. I think probably level 10 is okay early on. I don't think we'll need to be much higher than that to get through the next set of nodes. We'll level up Luke too. I think Luke is supposed to be 13 to unlock the next mission. Was it 13? I might not even have that thing. Mon Mothma Rebels, best team is Mon, Pow, Hoth Rebel Scout, Cal. Yeah, so here, let me show you this real quick. I made like a little slideshow for what we're doing on here, and I did have those folks on here, but I also have some of the pilots that I'm going to use. Since I'm going to go with a rebel fleet, I'm going to use Home 1 as my beginner fleet. I'm probably going to use like Akbar, Biggs, and Biston with Mon early on until I get some of those other characters farmed, because Kyle is I think it's tier 6 Cantina battle, so he's going to take a while to get to. Hoth Scout is going to take a while to get to because I think it's one of the shipments, and I'm going to be pretty like swamped with getting Phoenix done early on, and then I'm also going to pick away at Rogue One, but we'll try to get there too. And out of all those ones, I think Kara is probably the easiest one to farm out of those. So she might be the first one aside from Mon Mothma that I complete that's not one of the crew members for one of the ships. But yes, thank you for the tip. Definitely going to try to build that version of Mon's team eventually. I'm not sure if that's gonna be the first version that I field, but we're gonna get there. And yeah, so Phoenix, we are gonna do eventually that team, but let me get back to my Phoenix slide. So Phoenix, I will eventually use Sabine and Rex. I had to farm all of them because I'm going to use the Ghost and the Phantom, but I'm probably going to use Ezra and Zeb early on just because they're easier to farm. I'm going to have all 6 of the main Phoenix squad leveled because of the ships. Rex, because he's 1 hard node only, along with Sabine. Those 2 are going to take a little bit longer, but yes, eventually my ideal team is going to use them too. All right, and so we're going to level up our Luke. We trained a character. Okay. I'm gonna level up the Ahsoka to 7 and Anakin just to get rid of those missions. And yes, it is frustrating having to look down at my phone because they don't have an app for Mac. I really hope at some point CG decides to make something for the Mac so I can just play on my computer instead, because I don't have a PC. And you learn very early on in your life with a Mac that gaming on Mac is a pain. It's a major pain. And do I have regrets? Some, for sure, but I'm trying to make it work. All right, so let's keep going. Oh, I should have leveled Leia. Whatever, we'll roll with Rey for a little bit. But yeah, it's kind of fun because no one seems to use Rebels early on, aside from Phoenix. Like if you look at all the teams that people build, it's like Imperial Troopers after. You see some really cool Jedi teams like Qui-Gon with like Anakin and Mace, or people go for like Yoda early on. You could combine like Yoda with Bastila and it's pretty good. Farm up Saw and the rest of the Rebel fighters. However, Rebel fighters kind of only have 1 good group of characters. But just having a place for them where they aren't terrible is still good. Okay. So from the videos I've watched, I've seen Saw normally teams up with Luthen. I would love to have Luthen as a character because Andor's awesome, but I'm pretty sure that Luthen is extremely hard to get for free-to-play players. So that's like a long-term goal, I guess, but I bet Saw is probably still pretty good without him. It's just not ideal. And that's going to be kind of how most of this account goes, I'm assuming, is just making the most of what we have. And that's kind of like the vibe of Rebels in the movies too, is like they're using ships that weren't made to be like fighters necessarily, at least in the original lore. I'm pretty sure X-Wings were like stunt fighters for like shows and stuff like that, and they repurposed them for battle, but we'll see. Oh, sorry about that, I had to cough. Luthen is GP gated. You have to be 4 million. Okay, so 4 million seems like a lot. Probably gonna take a long time to get there, but you know, it's a goal, something for the list for sure. Yeah, that's actually one of the things that I like about this game, is that it seems like you can do essentially anything you want to do. You just have to have the patience and the perseverance to do it, which is neat. A lot of these like free-to-play games tend to be the opposite way, where it's you just need to be really lucky or you need to spend money. But Galaxy of Heroes seems like you can do all the different things and you can actually plan it out really well. You just have to not give up or change your farming strategy midway. As long as you stick to whatever you choose to do, you will get there in a fairly reasonable amount of time. Yeah, the part the part that I'm a little worried about is it seems like the first two teams I'm going to build are going to be pretty smooth sailings, but it looks like bounty hunters and their ships are going to take a really long time. So I'm probably going to be stalled out in that section, which is like the third team that I plan on building is bounty hunters because I want to get Chewie and the Millennium Falcon, and it seems like that's probably going to take me months to actually get through. But you know, we'll do it slowly but surely. The funny thing is, I'm like sitting here in complete silence. I don't know if my mic would pick up the music, so I'm just like sitting here, but I hope that the music that I'm playing is good, and I hope that all those different sound levels are good. Yeah, from everything that I've watched and read, Links, it seems like ships are both the most important part of this game and also the most like frustrating and hard to deal with, which is kind of funny. It makes sense, like of course like the most valuable thing is also gonna take the longest, but it's just kind of funny thinking about it. Alright, so now we have Gideon, so we're most of the way there on having like the dark team that they give you. I think they just need to give me Dark Trooper now, and still waiting for like the first free character they give us from, what are these called? The Bronzium data cards. I know that like early on they give you one free character for your trouble, so hopefully I get that one soon. So there's Anakin. Still don't have my Leia, so we're gonna level up the Rey. Put her at 10. Eventually, I think Rey needs to be level 17, but we're just gonna keep waiting. That 2 stars is really bugging me though. I don't know if y'all are the same way, but I can't stand in a game where it gives you like stars or, you know, some type of rating system about how well you've done a mission, and I don't get the full number. So I'm just telling you now, I'm definitely going to go back and fix that when I have stronger characters, because there's absolutely no way that my mind is going to be able to stand looking at that 2-star. Oh, and there goes Ahsoka. Yeah, like I was watching one of Nooch's videos about the mod battles, and he's like, doesn't matter what stars you get in the mod battles because they don't matter. You just need to get through them so that you can get to the mod challenges, and then you can get your 5-star mods. And just in the back of my head, I'm thinking there's 0 chance that I would only play those once and leave them as like 1 or 2 stars. I would have to go back and fix them. Like even this right now is bugging me tremendously that I've not done the last 2 as well as they can be done. Oh, that's not good. I don't want to waste. So the pack that you buy at the beginning, it's always Old Ben. And then they give you Rey. I'm just gonna gear to her. It's not ideal, but I'm getting sick of watching these characters die, and I'm trying to make this go a little bit faster. So I'll just try that. But yeah, so at the very beginning, they always give you Old Ben, but then I've just from, this might not be true, but it seems like it from the different times that I've like tested out the beginning of the game, it seems like within those first like 10 free packs that you open, they always give you one free character. So in my case, I'm really hoping that it's Biggs, just so that I don't have to waste Galactic War currency on him early on. Yeah, I'm not sure if you've seen the free like level 19 lightspeed things that they're offering right now, links, but those things make this beginning part of the game trivial, but at the same time it skips you all the way to level 19. And part of me wanting to do this too is literally leveling up from 1 to 85, so I'm not going to do those, but it would make this a lot more bearable. And if you like those little flechos, we literally made those from graph paper on with like Sharpies and stuff. It took a while, but kind of a fun little side note. 1 to 19 is the easy part. You can get that. And like, yeah. I think most of the time, because I've tested the beginning just to kind of get a feel for how I would want to proceed with different builds, because I thought about doing like a Lord Vader rush because of how they lay out the game. It actually makes a lot of sense for insert liquidate. Hi Pronk. Is it Pronk? Just guessing. How they lay out this game is beneficial for certain builds, I think. So like, I know Lord Vader is super expensive as a GL, but if you look at what they give you early on, they give you Anakin, they give you Ahsoka, they give you the ships for them at decently high levels. They put 5s early on with his ship. They give you Mace early on. They just like do a lot of stuff to make certain builds easier. And I feel like the most expensive one early on for fleets is probably Rebels. Actually, the Empire one's kind of rough too, because Vader is really fragile, it seems like. Like his high advance, it doesn't seem to hit as hard as Anakin or Ahsoka's ship, but then it also isn't as tanky as the Ghost and Phantom. So the Empire one's kind of in like a weird limbo. I think you need to get the TIE Silencer with Kylo Ren, or you need to farm like the Geo ships and Slave 1 to do okay with like dark side right from the beginning. But because you have to farm 6 different characters for Ghost and Phantom, I think that's probably the most expensive. Oh yeah, the early game is tedious, and the fleets, they give you so little shipbuilding materials that you can't even level 3 things to level 60 when you start it out. I think you can only get 2 to level 60 and 1 to like level 40 or 50 for your ships. But then they don't even give you like a full team. Like they give you, I think, Ghost, Phantom, and the Rebel Y-Wing if you're going like Rebels like I am. But the Y-Wing, since it isn't a crewed ship, you like leveling it up doesn't make it very strong. Like it seems kind of weak early on. It takes a lot of hits because it's a tank, but it doesn't deal any damage and the abilities don't seem very good. So it's just kind of weird early on, but hopefully I can get Biggs and Biston fairly early after we start fleets so that the team kind of functions a little bit better. But even Biston is a 2 crew member ship, so you need the Scarif Pathfinder, which is a pain as well. I think Geos into Executrix is still considered like one of the better ways to build. At least it seems like that. Most people still recommend going either Galactic Republic or Dark Side Fleet early on. Still locked out of that. I'm gonna do this really quick because I think it's gonna help us promote our Ahsoka. But yeah, I was watching Nooch's free-to-play Lord Vader playlist, and the fleet that he tried to field early on because he wasn't going Geos was like TIE Silencer, the Vulture Droid, TIE Fighter, First Order TIE Fighter. It was like rough. He was doing like really random ships altogether, nothing really from the same faction, just like they were dark side, and that was the really only glue tying them together. And it got to a point where I think he just gave up on that and went with the Galactic Republic because he wasn't advancing until later on when he had, I don't know if he used Geos or something else to eventually get through that Executrix event, but it definitely didn't make it seem like it would be very much fun to try to do Darkside without Geos. Alright, so I think we can get our Ahsoka to 2 stars now. I think that's what that was. Yeah. Alright, so hopefully that makes it a little bit more bearable. So many quests. I feel like I'm just going back and forth between like one mission and leveling things up, which is not helpful when it comes to information from my experience. I think it depends what your goals are. He has some interesting videos for like mods or just ideas, right? That's kind of what I like a lot of his videos, that he has ideas about teams, or like he shows kind of the process of going through a goal for a specific, like an account for a specific goal, which I think is good. You should, be planning out how you're gonna build your roster, and you should have like an endpoint in mind. So I think that's something that he does really well, is that he sets his goals and then he sticks to it. And kind of similar to this, it's not always the most efficient thing that he's doing, but he does actually like complete those farms, which is impressive. Like, I've never really made it to a deep part of this game. I think the furthest I ever got was I had like a level 85 account, but I stopped really soon after that. I didn't like play the late game. I didn't have a good team. I think my highest level character was like 70 on that one. I'm sure late game is different, but half the time his videos are yapping for 19 minutes and then he figures out. Hey, I mean, at least he figures it out, right? Learning is not easy, and this game doesn't seem that easy later on. So hopefully I figure things out. Hopefully I'm not, boring for 19 minutes. That's the case, but we'll see how it goes. So I'm gonna use Leia now, just because she's, part of my OG crew. Hopefully I can get rid of Anakin and Ahsoka pretty soon. They give Stormtrooper Han, I think I have to do the Rebel training missions for that, so I have to be level 20. And then I think they give Lando pretty early too. So at least until we get Phoenix, I'm going to try to go with like the OG trilogy people. I really wish that I could hear the audio for this stuff. I just feel like I'm talking to myself because I have no music and no game sound right now. It's kind of funny. Current Phoenix with Rex is so much better than it was before he existed. That's what I've heard a lot too. Which is neat that they do that with a lot of teams, it seems like, is CG will kind of see that a team's not performing and they'll give them a lifter, which is nice. They don't just let things die. In some cases, I should say. It does seem like there are fleets or teams where there haven't been updates in a long time. Like when I was looking into a potential Lord Vader account, one thing I wanted to do was do the Galactic Republic as the first fleet, and then do like the Separatist Malevolence fleet as the second fleet that I have. And it just seems like they gave up on the Malevolence. There are only 5 ships for Separatists, and they haven't added anything in years, it seems like. Yeah, I get that too, Lynx. I think it depends on how they make the videos, right? Some people, what they do is they record live and then they edit things down later. So I don't know if that's part of Nooch's process, is that like he records live and then if something interesting happens, they like edit it down and make a video from it after the fact. So I could see that being, something that happens where, oh, that's actually a really good point, or oh, that's an interesting idea for a video, and then they try to cobble something together afterwards. But I think just making content in general is hard, so I try to give people like the benefit of the doubt, because at the end of the day, like they're doing something kind of not just for other people, but for like their own personal amusement and stuff too. Subships have been forsaken. They're good. Compared to the ship, just really. I would not know. I have not unlocked either of them. I like the idea of the Malevolence though, because they have the droid ships, which are kind of cool. Like the Vulture droid with the Buzz droid debuff seems like a fun thing. I like damage over time mechanics, so that seems kind of fun. But I like the Rebels assist mechanics better, how they just kind of like team up and burst down on enemies. It's just unfortunate that it seems like punishing one severely hampers that fun. But who knows, maybe they'll give Rebels a new ship later on down the line, and I'll be the one laughing when I have the cool new ship and everyone else is trying to farm profundity. We'll see. One can only hope, right? Yeah, the Marauder seems sick. I watched Sanjita's videos a lot, and he just makes that ship look way stronger than the majority of the other fleet ships that are around. I think it has like a revive mechanic, which is busted. It's just a shame that Bad Batch is such a long farm because they use a lot of Chirotechs. But I mean, this is a game that a lot of people will pay a little bit to play, so you do have to kind of have those walls for progress where either you try to pay to hop over them sooner, or you have to do the climb. I thought that Leviathan was kind of more evenly matched with a lot of things. I thought it was more like close to a 50-50 with a lot of ships. Is that not how it is? I thought that that was more like a fleet that didn't have any bad matchups, but it wasn't like an overwhelming favorite against other stuff. Whereas Executor, I know, is overwhelming favorite against Profundity and Home 1, and then a little bit more evenly matched with the rest. But I think it's a little bit worse off against Leviathan than the Galactic Republic. But I haven't done a lot of research. See that? It kind of bums me out if you auto every fleet there's no Leviathan. That kind of bums me out if that's the case, because I feel like it should be more rock, paper, scissors than just one thing beats everything and then everything else is like trying to pick up the scraps. Hopefully it's not quite that bad, or at least you can have the tools to beat it. But if it really does feel that oppressive, that would be kind of a bummer. We're finally gonna get to Hera's node. Can finally start. And I'm probably gonna double farm Hera, Rex, and Sabine early on would be my guess. I think I'm gonna play this one. I'm actually gonna play this one because I don't want to have to play it over again. So let's see. Take him out. Nope, didn't take him out. Bummer. Probably should have done that the other way around, but I didn't get punished for it, which is nice. Fleets are really stringent in their meta. Since P1, the meta has not changed one bit. Okay. Well, I mean, we'll figure it out. From my understanding, if I'm gonna actually use the Profundity, Executor seems like, at least defensively, Executor is probably an auto loss, right? If I'm not the one playing it, and then if I am the one playing it, it's like a coin flip that's not in my odds. So I don't know. I just hit auto there. That was dangerous. But yeah, we'll figure it out. I don't mind having the odds stacked against me. It just makes it feel a lot better when I actually win. Oh man, I'm not doing any damage. I think I need to give Leia some gear, because that was rough. Oh no, Luke's gonna die. How are we gonna do this here? Who's gonna go first out of these? Oh please. Yeah. I forgot that Anakin's Force Blast thing gives offense up. So now I can start farming Hera. So we're just gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. I think I still have one thing left because I didn't change it from 4. Indeed. Okay, cool. Leviathan, Executor, Prof is it in terms of GL ships. They can all be each other, but they get spread of both the weaker ones. Got it. Still winning on my first free character. Nice. Completed daily quest. We'll claim that. Level 15. Oh, we're just killing it right now. Look at us go. And I think we just got the Dark Trooper. Oh, 18. We're so close to events. Take that. Take that. Alright, so I think we should probably start Darkside now, right? What do you guys think? Should I get the Darth Vader thing real quick, just for I mean, I'm already like level 18. It's basically just one level difference. Because I think he would just make the comp better, right? If I have Darth Vader and Savage, that just makes it an easier farm. No? Or is it betraying the idea of the account? Probably kind of is. Do they still show up if I'm level 19 though? If I am level 19, then I'm not earning any levels off of it. I'm just using the higher power characters and gear. That I think is reasonable. So I might go that way. If it doesn't let me do it, it doesn't let me do it. If it does, at least I waited and I didn't cheat any levels. I wish I could have things auto level up for me. That would be very nice. Less clicking. There's gear 2. Give her all this gear. Okay. What do we think? Probably like level 10 should be enough to get through the first section, right? Can't imagine like having them struggle in the first section at level 10. Although Kylo is like really weak early in this game, which is hilarious because he gets kind of busted later on, like he just doesn't die. Gear 2, gear. Alright, so we're gonna kill some Ewoks. If anyone tells you that that's messed up, just remember that they were gonna eat Luke and Han until C-3PO stopped them. So if anyone's like, no, not the Ewoks, they eat people. And they were gonna be happy about it and like dance and throw C-3PO a big human eating party. So don't feel bad for the Ewoks, is what I'm saying. Wicket did nothing wrong. Wicket was nice. Wicket is like the nicest of the Ewoks. You know, he just want to eat some crackers, hang out with Leia. Wicket's alright. But who was it, Chirpa or whoever was, you know, ready to eat Han, Chewie, and Luke, we have some problems with them. It's not cool to just, you know, put people on a spindle and like roast them over a fire. They didn't even like season them. They were just gonna eat straight up burned people on a stick. You know, they didn't like load up a big cauldron and make a stew, nothing. They were just gonna have at it. Barbecue. Level 10 seems like a good choice. We're making our way through here. I think I'm gonna try at 19 to see if I can still do the code thing, because if I can, if I get those free shard currency with Vader, and then also I get like a better leader for the dark side early on, and it'll just make like going full auto easier, which is my main goal. Is I'm just trying to get out of this early part of the game as quickly as possible. I don't know if like I'm gonna go the full distance on today, like until I run out of energy or not, but it'll make it a lot easier if I can just sim things without having to pay attention or worry about not getting full stars. Because it does actually matter to get 3 stars, because simming for gear early on is very convenient. Like getting everyone to gear 5 or 6 early is clutch for Phoenix, because Phoenix can take a while stars wise for some of the characters, so getting those extra little bit of gear, especially when their abilities, their uniques are tied to gear, is important. Sorry, that little can of Mountain Dew, very tiny can, very carbonated though. Remember the sim ticket. So I was actually wondering about that when they give you the 5,000. So sim tickets actually took a lot to get, or did you have to like manually battle a lot of these? Because that would probably drive me crazy. I also heard that they didn't have the 4 times speed early on, which now it seems like if you go to 1 times, things move too slowly, almost like they made 4 times the natural speed for things. But I did wonder if like sim tickets were actually that scarce early on that you had to manually play the game. Obi-Wan. Get Obi-Wan. There we go. Take no chances with that guy. Even if you have him in a bottomless pit holding on for dear life, he can get you. So just, you know, don't give him the opportunity. Right, none of that. Oh man, I was really hoping that would be. Which is the next one that gives XP? Oh, okay, I can do the Ray one. We'll promote her, might as well. And then let's get Ray to 17. And that should hopefully and hit level 19, and then we'll test out the store thing. All right, level 19. Sim tickets are still a crunch for new players. I don't think so. At least I haven't noticed it, because every time you refresh, they give you sim tickets too. I wasn't around for the 1 times. Okay. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to try to add those bundles now that I'm level 19, and hopefully it still lets me get them. If not, then I'll be right back and we'll just keep farming. All right, I am back. Thank you for waiting. And it did let me get them. So I'm gonna try to buy something from the store. Should cause the game to refresh, and then we'll see all the like goodies that we got from those 4 free bundles that they're giving away right now. I think there's gonna be one more for the Jedi Temple Guardian dude, but so Jedi Anakin, SWGOH, Darth Maul, and Vader. We got a nice little boost to our crystals from that. Then we get 19 Vader, 19 SWGOH, 19 Anakin, 19 Maul. And then we also got some achievements from that going through too. Very nice. So, let's see. Is that our free one? Nope, not yet. So yeah, that's pretty nice. We're gonna upgrade Vader a little bit since he's gonna be the leader in this here squad. I don't think that's actually gonna help that much, but nice. Okay. So now we're gonna have an actual full dark side team. We're gonna have Vader, SWGOH, Maul, and then probably dark. Yeah, we're just gonna leave out the First Order dude. We'll rock this for right now. But stay true to my word. From 1 to 85 still intact, but at least this way we can just burn through early dark side, which is normally a grind. Like the way that they build the game naturally, you have to level up Kylo to tank really well and taunt really well, and then have Moff Gideon and Dark Trooper do all the damage essentially, because you don't even get a full team until you start unlocking I think you get like Boba and whatever free Bronzium card character normally is how you do your first dark side squad. So this is nice that it's actually like a real team. Kind of bums me out that apparently Darth Maul is not a very good character in this game. I know that like the Clone Wars version of Maul, like the Metal Legs Maul is pretty good, but like OG Phantom Menace Darth Maul being bad is kind of a bummer because he was such a big deal back when that movie came out, and he's like cool in all the other games that he's into. Like he's in Tony Hawk, he was in the Battlefront games, he was like good in all those things. So for him to be kind of bad in this game is kind of a bummer. But you can't win them all. So I'm trying to, oh wait. Let's go to hard, and we can get Sabine now too. So we're gonna double farm Sabine, and then we'll keep going because Rex is in the 3rd set of hard nodes for dark side. And once we get all 3 of them, double farm for the day, the rest is just gravy. Whatever else we do with normal energy is not gonna matter that much. The next big farm for this account, I guess, is gonna be in the Cantina nodes. They have the Kanan and Ezra double node, and we're just gonna literally put all of our Cantina energy into that early on, and that should get them to like 3 or 4 stars probably, depending on how the shards break down. Alright, so Sabine, farm. Oh yeah, and they gave like a lot of normal and Cantina energy too. I'm not I didn't like clock exactly how much I had before I added those things, but it seems like a lot because I'm up to 500 now. So I think someone did the research and they said that technically doing like 2-2-1 is the same as simming all 5 together. But part of me doesn't believe that because I feel like I normally get more character shards when I do 2-2-1 or 3-2 versus all 5 together. It is what it is. But getting absolutely no Phantom or Sabine shards on that is frustrating. I agree, Lynx. I think I'm gonna go back. For all future ones, I think I'm gonna sim 3-2 or 2-2-1. Just to make myself feel better. At least if I don't get any that way, I can say that I did everything in my power to do it the right way. If I do all 5 together, it just feels bad. Feels bad. Yeah, it really doesn't matter what ally I pick. This team is so busted right now for the early game that nothing stacks up. They're all gear 4, or Vader might even be gear 5 actually. So they're just one-shotting things. Just super nice because dark side used to take longer than light side because I think the enemies are higher level and they also just gave you less characters for the dark side early. So this is a pleasant like farming experience now. Got some more Leia. We're not really going to use her, but nice to know that that's not like a completely wasted bit of energy. At least we got something that's advancing the rebels. I know Zori's supposed to be like actually really good for resistance, but I'm not going to build that early on, so it doesn't matter. Dang, even Dark Troopers one-shotting stuff. It's only level 10. The punch seems pretty broken. What is this? Oh, events are unlocked. Nice. Okay. So let's do store. Oh, that's not the store thing. This is the store thing. So free credits. Do this. Level up our stuff. And then what's actually in the events? So we get Drogon. Cool. This is the lifter for Leia's team. So we're just gonna get him with a couple stars, or I don't know if it's 3 or 4 stars that we get him at, but in any case, getting him for free is nice. He's like a way later Cantina node, I'm pretty sure, so not having to do the initial unlock cuts down time. And time is kind of everything in this game. What are your guys' time settings? I know everyone likes different things. I've debated between doing like 10 p.m. reset. Oh, I thought Drogon was like the lifter for Leia. Is that not how it works? Because it seems like he's pretty busted, and maybe they were released at the same time and I'm just getting it confused. But I thought that he was like what made Leia like work. Got it. So if they come out at the same time, then it's just a really good team. No, I'm not going to do that right now. We'll do this though, get some mods. But yeah, for time settings, I kind of debated between doing like 10 p.m. so that everything happens at a reasonable time, or like really late, like 3 a.m. so that it's like my fleet stuff is after probably most people's resets. Not sure if you guys have any advice for that. Leftovers like Rex for Phoenix, this makes the team better. And like punishing one for the Executor fleet, right? That came out after all the other dark side chips, I'm assuming. Was Riva a lifter for Inquisitors, or was she always part of the Inquisitors and just like hard to get? Alright, we got our new pirate. We're not going to use him, but cool to have him. Okay, so actually playing fleet. Okay, probably later then. I unfortunately don't like work from home or anything, so I can't like be on my phone while I'm at work. So I'll probably have to set it later than if I actually need to play that hour before. Alright, let's keep going for Rex. Stage 2. So how far are you into the game then, Lynx? Are you like in the millions of GP or whatever? And she's like a legendary for the Inquisitors, like helping his. Okay, so you're like pretty deep into the game then. But Riva is like a guild thing, right? Because the Grand Inquisitor is the one with the journey. So that's why I thought she maybe came later. They're really bad without her, yeah. Like a Rex and Phoenix situation. See, that's kind of sad. I feel like almost every faction should be able to at least function at a basic level. Oh, I think I was Nisa a lifter for Ewoks? I was just thinking like about teams that I have to build. Eventually I'm gonna have to build Ewoks for 3PO, and then I'm pretty sure she got added after, right? Poor Han, never had a chance. That was kind of like an Empire Strikes Back when he tries to shoot Vader and he just blocks it with his hand. Yeah, when I was like looking up all the assault battles, I thought it was funny that for one of the assault battles they list Ugnaughts as like one of the factions, or I forgot which assault battle it was, but then I looked it up and there's only one Ugnaught. So I guess they need more Ugnaughts in this game. Although I think Queel is technically an Ugnaught, but I don't think he's got that tag. I might be wrong on that though. I didn't like look at it super closely, but I just thought it was funny that they just had like the one dude with a wrench. You're supposed to beat a whole assault battle with him. She makes them marginally better, but they're still useless. Aw, poor Ewoks. They might be useless, but they are a necessity. At least they're gonna be a necessity for me because I need to get 3PO. And then she's also, I think Leia has 2 or 3 Ewoks in her requirements too, so I'm gonna need to have that team pretty much regardless. Something I've noticed about this game is that the backgrounds are actually pretty nice. I just rarely take the time to actually look at them. Like just right now I saw like there was like ships off in the distance in the sunset in that previous map. I'm like, oh, that's really nice. And this one, it's got like the cool police cars. But if you're just hitting auto, you're not really paying attention, but they actually do some nice detail work. Like this looks like a place where you'd go buy death sticks. Now this is like what, Jedi Temple Library maybe? Most people have them. They still suck. I'm kind of curious what the like rarest team in this game is. Aside from like the brand new, like I know Pirates is brand new, so that doesn't really count. But I wonder what like the rarest faction is in the game right now. My guess is it's probably like one of the tribal ones, like Gungans or maybe Tuskens, like something where unless you're super competitive, you're not putting in the effort to farm it. Because a lot of the basic ones, everyone has, like almost everyone, when I look at online videos, has like a Jedi team, a Sith team, an Empire team, Spectres. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Because yeah, she's like she's the most expensive GL right now, right? until Hondo comes out, maybe. So that makes sense. And then like her best character got like stolen by Rey, is what I've heard. Like the Exile Ezra doesn't even go on an Ahsoka team most of the time. Worst and newest GL. See, that just seems like prime for a rework then. Especially since they're gonna have an Ahsoka season 2. Part of me kind of doubts that they're just gonna let her be bad forever. But like I was watching, I forgot who was doing the battle, but she does like the saber cutting into the ground thing that she did in the show, but that's not like a fighting move. That's a move she did to go down into like a temple. I don't understand how that's one of her attacks. You know, like she cuts a circle in the ground and she falls down. But why is that a move that she does in this game? Like, it looks cool in the show because, you know, she's doing something with a purpose. What is the purpose of fighting and cutting the floor in a circle? So yeah, because it's cool probably. Yeah, it's cool in the show because like she's going from a ceiling, like a roof or whatever, down into the ground. When you're in a fight, it's like a little kid, you know, spinning in circles. Like a helicopter. Also, I just feel like Ahsoka she's one of like Disney's few character properties that they are still like actively using. So it makes me suspicious that they would let that character be bad. That's why I said that. It's just like they have a lot invested in her. Multiple shows. She's probably going to be part of like the Mando movie too. Oh, I unlocked guilds. Let's see. Just trying to go through all this. Let's see. Aluminum Falcons. Yeah, I'll join a guild later. CG only reworks characters when there's monetary value. Most likely they will release another conquest character to lift her, or rework Ezra to only work with specters. Okay. Nope, not buying anyone gifts. I'm not even buying myself a gift. Still waiting on that first Bronzium character. We gotta be getting close now. I'm curious what Hondo's like abilities and stuff are gonna be. Because they have like Skeleton Crew, like Clone Wars / comic book characters, and like small bit sequel trilogy characters in it. And then Maz Kanata is like a conquest character. It's such a random faction that I'm very curious to see how they deal with that. So I know Bronziums are random, but I feel like every single time that I've tried the beginning of this game, before the end of the free 10 packs that they give you like one free character. That could just be my mind playing tricks on me, but I'm still hopeful that I get that free character, just because it makes it more fun. I could see it going both ways. I could see them just deciding randomly to make pirates super busted, and so like eventually everyone has a pirate team, or I could see pirates being bad and just mostly for fun, and very few people end up getting them, but they'll have like one really good counter somehow that all like the like super late game people have to have a pirate team for like that one counter. It just seems like they could be a trap for like late game players to invest. Yeah, pirates, it seems like an odd call. Like that wouldn't have been my first choice. And then Hondo also seems like a character that people in the know who he is. You know, like if you watch all the different Star Wars shows, yeah, you know Hondo. Or if you've been to like Disneyland, you know Hondo. But like if people just watch the Star Wars movies and then they play this game because they like Star Wars, it's bizarre. We'll see. Yeah. Disney's been very hit or miss with the franchise. Like some of the stuff they've done I really like Mando, he's good. Skeleton Crew is pretty good. Rebels, I actually really liked Rebels. But then some of the stuff has been rough. And like I'm pretty easygoing when it comes to like movies and shows. Like I didn't hate The Acolyte. There were definitely parts of it that I thought weren't very good, but there were some like fun parts to it too. But man, the pendulum really swings hard on Disney Star Wars between good and bad. And then the games themselves have been pretty hit or miss too. Like giving EA like 100% control of Star Wars video games for a while. It yielded this game, which is a pretty fun game. And then, but it also like was like Battlefront, and that had problems with like whatchamacallit, like loot boxes and stuff like that. And then that Jedi Outcast, whatever the Calcastus games are, those games look really cool, but they were like super janky when they first launched, like performance issues. So hopefully now that they're starting to like farm out to different developers, they come out with some more good Star Wars games, because I miss like the days of KOTOR and the Jedi Knight games and stuff like that. Andor, Clone Wars, Rebels, Seasons 1 and 2 of Mando, and Rogue One are the only good projects. I thought Solo was fine. It wasn't like amazing, but it was fine. I'm trying to think of what. Skeleton Crew was fun. It was like Space Goonies. Ahsoka felt like it needed more time to cook. Like there were some interesting ideas, but nothing really got fleshed out. And then the fact that they didn't, like, Disney doesn't like to release things all at once, so you can't binge it, so that makes it harder. If you have dud episodes, they hit harder because you don't have another episode to follow it up with. But yeah, it's been hit or miss. I agree with Andor, Rebels, and Rogue One and Seasons 1 and 2 of Mando is probably being the best that they've offered, though. Particularly Andor and Rebels, I think, are probably like the best two shows that they've made. All right, I didn't like Skeleton Crew because bosses feel like futuristic Earth. So I kind of like that they made space suburbia, because I feel like Star Wars is always like this super like futuristic place like Coruscant, or this like very like rural, like deserted place like Tatooine, right? There's not like a normal, it doesn't seem like there's like normal life in a lot of Star Wars planets. So I kind of liked in Skeleton Crew that it was just the space suburbs, because I feel like in a galaxy that big there should be just regular places and people too. But I also understand it feeling kind of like a cop-out. Yeah, but Alderaan we barely get to see, right? Like you see it a little bit in Kenobi, another show that had problems, and that's pretty much it. Like, maybe you see it in Clone Wars here and there. I can't think of like an Alderaan episode off the top of my head. Maybe you see it in like comic books, but I don't read the comic books, so it just feels like you're kind of missing a piece. Let's actually level up Drogon. Let's put him in this team and see how they fare. I'm actually probably gonna have to call it a wraps for a stream pretty soon, but I'm gonna record some video. Do you want some overpowered allies? Sure, I would not mind some overpowered allies. I would not be opposed to such a thing. Okay, I will send invites right after this battle. But then I am probably gonna have to wrap things up, at least for today's stream. So you have like an alt and a main, I'm guessing, links. Or are those like, okay. Did you do like different types of builds, or did you just get kind of stuck at a certain point on your main account and decide to do an alt account just for fun, but follow like a similar path? Oh, you got Darth Bane. It's pretty busted. Five, 227, 149. Wow, and Supreme Kylo Ren. Dang. Rushing Slicker used to be like the premier like speedy farming path, right? I remember, I'm guessing that was probably before like Java, where people would advocate going for him first. And then once Java came out, I guess it was probably a little bit more split, right? Before executor, if you want the optimal path, you go executor straight. Yeah, that's like almost every main streamer has advocated for that path, but who wants to be 100% optimal when you can go for just struggling and frustration and trying to do your own thing and regretting it day after day after day? Doesn't that sound like way more fun than taking the easiest path? Alright, I'm gonna use your ally one time and then I'm gonna call it wraps, but since you... Oh, accept... Oh, you still have to approve it probably. Never mind. Probably gonna call it a stream for right now, just because I can hear a little one needing a nap. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope you had fun. Hopefully you catch one of the next streams if I do one, or I'm also gonna post videos on YouTube at ChiptuneYT, I think is my YouTube. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday. Take care.